You are now listening to Pull Hook Golf, an unfiltered golf podcast taking you inside the ropes with unfiltered stories, insights, analysis, and exclusive interviews. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Pull Hook Golf. This is episode number 73, which is normally a number I never really see when I'm playing golf. You know, it's either under par or an 80. Like it's one or the other, which I'll get into that as we go through tonight. I've got a little bit of news, Bobby, coming up around the state of my game, which I know nobody really cares about except for you and me. So we'll get into that.
I have a bit of personal news about myself too. Yes. I'll bring up a little bit later.
I love that. You know,
it's personal night.
It's personal night, but everybody on tonight's episode, we're going to go over a recap of the 3M Open. We're going to talk about the FedEx Cup playoffs that are coming up because this is the last chance for some romance, if you know what I mean, at the Wyndham Championship. So we're obviously going to preview the Wyndham Championship out there in Greensboro, North Carolina. And then lastly, we've got a preview. Once again, it is that time of month or a couple months because we've got a live golf event coming up. We got the Greenbrier event. I know. And then, you know, I've got some news around another league. I've kind of alluded to it on some past episodes, so we'll talk about that at the very, very end here. But without further ado, tonight's episode is sponsored by Swannies Golf. And they were out there last week at the 3M. Bobby Bissell over here kind of heard them rumbling over there in the bleacher seats. So
I thought I heard them on the last couple holes on 17 and 18 mumbling something, but like I told you, I was in get the horsey to the barn mode. We were kind of on a run there the last 5 holes on Sunday. So you hear some things and you don't hear some things. Well, you hear some things, but you don't react. Let's put it that way. So if that was you, Swannies guys, I heard you. I heard you.
And here's the thing. I'm going back to one of my favorite commercials here, or script commercials for Swannies. So hopefully we can get through this one very smoothly there, Bobby. But Swannies is here with a fresh take. Performance-based materials are a given these days. But if you're looking for the stretchiest and most lightweight pieces that deliver a look that says, I'm here for a good time, take a walk on the Swannies side. With fabric sourced from recycled plastics and designs sourced from our very own weekend warriors, Swannies is looking out for both our planet and those that need a little style to boost their drive another 15 yards. Premium looks from top to bottom at swannies.co. And don't forget, folks, when you go to swannies.co, when you go to checkout, put in Pull Hook Golf 25 for 25% off your entire order. It doesn't get much better than that, Bobby Bissell.
I'm speechless. It doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, man. 15 extra yards. 15 extra yards if you wear their shirts. That's a Pull Hook Golf guarantee right there. All right, Bobby, here we go.
What do you
the 3M Open is technically the proper term. I was calling it the 3M Championship all week as I was watching you out there. You guys, you and SH, I mean, you guys had a nice little clip of doing a nice little high five after he chipped in. You also were a featured group on ESPN Plus. So I got to watch you and SH really out there having a ball. You guys were joking around, having a blast.
Yeah, I'm keeping him loose, man. It's not easy to do with Korean, but I think that's, you know, keeping him loose is a key to a very good week last week. You know, we didn't get off to a very good start. I think we shot even and got lapped on the first day and just didn't do anything special. As a matter of fact, I think we made 16 pars, 1 birdie and 1 bogey, if I'm not mistaken. I think he made like 11 or 12 pars in a row. And I'm like, is this fucker going to par every single hole today when everybody's making birdies?
That was on Thursday, right?
Yeah, that was on Thursday. And then we came out of the gates and you saw what happened. We teed off on the backside on Friday. And nobody laugh at me when I say this, but I caddied for the best player in the world for 3 hours and it wasn't even close. He ripped off 5 in a row. I think he turned it at 6 under. He was making everything. Everything was, it's a beautiful thing when a player is playing great and a caddy can chime in every once in a while and help him. And we were really gelling. We were having fun. It's funny. We were having fun. We were having more fun on Sunday than we were on Friday, because on Friday, when you're going that deep and that low, you're very focused and in the zone, and there's not a lot of small talk going on.
Locked in, some might say.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word, locked in. But I'll tell you why. We finished second in the field in putting, and I'll tell you why I think we had such a good week, other than he hit it pretty good. But what's the most important part of golf? It's putting, right? I don't care.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen numerous guys out here that don't hit it that great, but they make a ton of putts. Taylor Montgomery comes to mind, but they make a ton of putts, and that is the most important thing. So I successfully got 2 wishes last week. I asked him to do two things: ditch the belly putter that weighs about 84 pounds, and he went back to a Scotty like a GSS style, a Newport style putter. And I told him, I was sharing a story with him. I go, you spend so much time chipping around these greens. I feel like we should spend that time putting, hitting putts. And I go, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I did this with Kyle Stanley and Dustin their rookie year. And I would set almost to the inch what I thought was going to be past Thursday and Friday pins. And I dropped 5 balls around from about 15 feet all the way, any possible angle you could have. And I go, here's what we're going to do. You're going to hit putts to each one of these hole locations. And I'm going to stand behind you and I'm going to write down exactly what I think it does, right? So he's like, oh, so late. Why don't you tell me earlier, like 6 or 7 weeks ago? And I'm like, well, 6 or 7 weeks ago, I was just starting to work for you and I was kind of feeling you out and you were feeling me out. But this is my recommendation, because he's always like, hey, I need you to teach me. What have you seen the great ones do? What have you seen the ones that aren't so great? What do you think that they can do, and that kind of stuff? So I'm not taking credit for that, but he was very comfortable on those greens. And it was just, man, it was one of the best Fridays. It was honestly, for the struggles that I've had this year that I've been a part of, it was actually the best day of the year for me personally as a caddy. And I knew, I think we finished the day at tied for 13th or tied for 14th. Lee Hodges was, obviously it was 4 days of unbelievable golf, but he was in the middle of kind of thrashing everybody. And I knew when we woke up Saturday morning that it was going to be tough, because I think we shot 7 under on Friday, right, yep. Matt? And I think we were I think Lipsky or somebody shot 8 under. And there was a couple of us that shot 7s, but I knew Saturday was probably going to be, I knew 1-2 things. Most of the time, backing up around like that is tough to do, right? Or if you do back up around like that, you're probably going to have a chance to win the golf tournament. That's just how it happens, AKA Lee Hodges. So we came out Saturday and we were just kind of, we were just struggling. He wasn't that sharp, shot 1 under, and we were 8 under. Didn't look like we were going to win, but we could have had a chance I was doing some math because it's FedEx Cup time, right? For the top 70. And I was doing some math and I told him, he's like, what do you think? I go, I think, we started the week at 81-ish or something. I go, I think according to my calculations, if we can squeeze in a top 15 or something, that we're probably going to move up to about 73 or 74, which was kind of the goal. And he did not warm up good. He looked terrible for the first 5 holes. And I was like, I never wanted to get into shaking my head, because you just keep fighting it out. And I think we were like 1 over par or 2 over par through 5 holes. And we got to the 16. He's kind of hitting it he's hitting the middle of the fairway, but it's kind of this weak quit swing, and the ball's going right. And I saw the same thing on the driving range. I'm like, shit, this could be a long day. We got to 16. He goes, my swing. My swing is very uncomfortable right now. Very uncomfortable. And he goes, what do you think? And I go, no shit. I'm like, no shit. I'm standing right next to you. You're hitting it all over the place. I go, but let's stay focused, because we know there's birdies out there. And we were kind of laughing and joking around and having fun. And we'd make a birdie, then we'd make a bogey, then we'd miss a green from the middle of the fairway with a pitching wedge. And it was just like, when are we going to hit this run? When are we going to hit this run? And we were playing with Cam Davis, and he was putting on a clinic. I think he shot 6 or 7 under. We were kind of using it as that motivation to try and stay close to him, pretty much. And I wouldn't call it an internal match, but it was more motivating, because I was telling him, I'm like, this is a President's Cup player, and I think you're going to be a President's Cup player. Watch how he acts and that kind of stuff. So So we got to 12 and we were even par or something like that, Matt, maybe one over. And it's a par 5 and he hit a 3-iron to about 3.5 feet. And I was standing on the back of the green with Cam Davis's caddy. And I told him, I go, you guys are having a great day. We're having a shit day. I go, you ever have those shit days where you think that there's one shot that can change the whole vibe and everything, right? So he stuffs a 3-iron in there to about 3 feet for eagle and he misses it, but he makes a little tap in birdie and then he makes a quick bogey. But he's like, I'm not comfortable. And then the last 5 holes, he hit a run and birdied 4 of the last 5 holes. And we were losing ground. We were like in the mid 40s. We ended up finishing 27th. Actually, when we signed our card, we were tied for 19th. I knew we were going to go backwards, but I didn't think we were going to go backwards that much. So the new putter worked. The new philosophy on spending more times on the greens definitely paid dividends because he was much more comfortable. And I feel like if you concentrate on those Thursday and Friday pins, you're not really paying attention to Saturdays and Sundays, but they get a feel for the greens more, the speed and everything that goes. It builds confidence, right? It's a psychological thing. It builds confidence. So it was a good week. I'm going to interject and go fast forward. I'll go to a funny story. So I meet him out here yesterday. I made him out here yet. What's today, man? I don't even know. Must be August on the PGA Tour. I don't even know what day it is. Today's Tuesday. So I meet him out there yesterday evening at about 5 o'clock. So we can do some putting. I wanted to do some putting and chippy just for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. And I meet him in the locker room. And there's a different putter in the bag with the one where we just finished second. And I'm like, what are you doing right now? And he's like, oh, we just try, we just try. And I'm like, I just don't fucking understand these guys. He just had the best putting week of his year and we're switching up putters again. So I was a little bummed about that, but I didn't want to. He had his mind made up on this different, more of a wider. Yeah, I don't even know the models of these Scotty Camerons, but it's a Newport style, but it's got a wider. It's kind of wider,
Oh, and it's the double. It's got the double backing to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the double, whatever it is. So we'll see how it goes. I got ahead of myself there and I didn't give Lee Hodges the congratulations that he deserves because he put on an absolute clinic. I was talking to KH Lee this morning and he's like, oh my God, Lee Hodges wins by 7. And I'm like, okay, he won by 7, but it wasn't, he had a 5, 6 or 7 shot lead all day. But when they got to 8, Poston made a couple birdies late, right?
Yeah.
And put the squeeze.
It was within 3.
He was in 3, so I think they were 23-20 or something like that. And Hodges, there's water down there right on 18 on that hittable par 5. It's a scary hole. It's a scary tee shot. It's a scary second shot, And Hodges hit it exactly where he's supposed to hit it, way left into the trees, into the rough over there. And I think Poston barely hit it in the right rough, almost souped it off the tee. And I think he had about 210 yards to the hole. Hodges found a way to lay up to $116 or something like that. And I guess Poston, because he social media made a big deal out of it, as you probably know, Poston went after it, trying to win, thinking he could make eagle and possibly, we've seen guys rinse the layup shot numerous times if you push it a little bit right on that green. So I think Poston went after it, maybe caught it a little thin or something, hit the rock,
Yep.
Yeah, it came out. It's funny. Everybody was saying, oh, he had such a good lie and that kind of stuff. And I know it was an expensive, but shit, he was solo second by 2 or 3 shots and he ends up making triple bogey, cost him about $250,000. And people are like, oh, what's his caddy doing? Why doesn't he lay up? And Poston was the first one to go on the social media and he said, he's like, hey, listen, man, I got 3 or 4 of these chances every year to try and win. And we don't ever tee it up or think about the money. I mean, you do think about the money when it's a little bit late in that scenario, but he was trying to win. He was trying to make eagle, make sure something happened. Cost him $250,000.
Well, I think you also realize too that he has an opportunity. All he has to do is not make a triple bogey, right? Which he ends up making.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
You rinse it, but then all you have to do is now lay up, hit a shot onto the green and 2-putt. And he didn't execute that, which that was the problem. It wasn't him going after it. And everybody and I love the fact that he came out and actually said, I'm not playing for second place. I'm trying to win a golf tournament here because I think you've heard it from veteran pros on tour and everything, that sometimes they play for second place. I mean, we've heard it kind of over and over again in some interviews and so forth. Early on, remember Charles Howell III with Ledbetter talking about that situation where he was playing for
protecting
position.
the money.
Yeah, wasn't trying to go for the victory, even though he was within like 2 shots of the lead. And like those are some of the things that you hear about. Having him come out and say, I was trying to win a golf tournament, like even 3 shots back. But even with that, like him and the caddy were talking about it, and you could see, you couldn't hear exactly what they were talking about, but you could see that they were discussing, okay, worst case scenario, I rinse it, we lay up, we go, and, you know, we've got an opportunity here to still come in second place. And that's where he just, I mean, when something like that happens and you rinse it, people don't realize how hard it is to reset your mind and to actually play out that whole
because you're frazzled. Because you're frazzled. You're frazzled because the realization comes to you that you can't win the golf tournament, right? Exactly. You can't win the golf tournament. But I will say this: JT Poston's a fantastic player. When he gets hot, he gets really, really hot, makes tons of birdies. We know he's a great putter. And I will say this: if it was his rookie year, and if it's a rookie year and he's not a multiple winner and he's not a multimillionaire, maybe he lays it up, right? Because he knows there's $200,000 or $300,000 on the line. That's the only theory that I could come up with that. So I think if it's rookie year, he's keeping the solo second place points and the money. And I mean, 250K is 250K, but you know, not to get away from Lee Hodges' unbelievable performance.
Wire to wire, Bobby.
That doesn't happen out here very often.
And not for your first victory either.
No, not for your first victory. You know, he went to the University of Alabama. He was a stud at the University of Alabama. He's friends with my son, Daniel. I really didn't know much about him. He had won in college. He hadn't done anything dominating. But if you make the Alabama team, there's a 62.8% chance that you're going to play on the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour. That's just the bottom line. So I never really knew who he was. And a few years back when he was on the Korn Ferry Tour, I had worked for my buddy Lipsky in a few of those Korn Ferry Tour playoffs. And we finished second to him at Pumpkin Ridge. And Lipsky was telling me, you know, when he polished off the win, we were hanging around for a few hours thinking we might get in the playoff. And but Lipsky was telling me he was the real deal. And Daniel was telling me that he's the real deal. And he is just another one of those average guys that average Joe doesn't know about, that gets hot at the right week. And he kind of thrashed the field, to tell you the truth. Wins by 7 over Poston. I think Kevin Streelman was right there in second. Martin Laird had a big week. You know, Streelman's your guy, you know, works out the same place with your guy, doesn't he? We had a few big names. Obviously, the big disappointment was JT misses another cut. He keeps saying that he's, you know, everybody's going to say they're close. But I've watched, you know, we were in opposite waves. So he got all the TV time early in the morning when we wake up and watch PGA Tour live. And he's just not that sharp right now. And his attitude doesn't look great. When things go great for a world-class player like that, golf is easy. And when things go bad, he's going through what he's got to feel like an average PGA Tour player right now, what most of us, or most, you know, 70 or 80% of the players go through. So that big name missed the cut. Tony Finau had a good week. He started off hot. He finished at 15 under, finished tied for 7th. I think Grillo had another good week. I'll tell you who we played with on Saturday that really impressed me. Nick Hardy. You know the name Nick Hardy. He's a rookie. Yeah, he's a rookie. He's having a great year. He went to the University of Illinois, and one of my best buddies, Jeff King, caddies for him. And he's got all the shots. He can sting it. He can throw it up in the air. He's a fantastic putter. He hit a ton of greens. I was asking Jeff, and I'm like, God, this guy's really fucking good, hon. He's like, as long as he hits greens, he's good. So I think his Achilles heel is probably chipping, you know, but that's, I don't know, you know, I kind of got, yeah, there you go. I kind of got lucky and back toward the Vid Storman thing, but I'm going to go out on the record, and I'm not saying that's going to happen in these playoffs, but I think this time next year, I wouldn't be shocked to see that Nick Hardy has a W under his belt. Billy Horschel finally had a good week and finished tied for 13th.
There you go, Micah.
Obviously, yeah, there you go, Micah. They hadn't been doing much, you know. Obviously, my guy had a fantastic week, 71 64, 70, 68, but finished off the right way. Hideki is so performance.
Hang on, let's go back to your guy for a second, because I just want to say one thing for people that weren't paying attention to the scorecards. He was making 6 birdies a round.
Yeah, he was. We made
not the first day, but the next 3, it was 6 birdies a round.
Yeah. Yeah, he's making, and he does make a lot of birdies, you know, other than Thursday, he does make a lot of birdies. I'll tell you one thing about my guy. He can hit a whopper every now and then off a tee, but a lot of guys do that, you know, and
well, you were right with the wedge play. The wedge play is rough.
But it got better last week. It's been better. It's actually been better the last 2 weeks because he's been practicing a lot on it, and he's trusting. Like I was telling somebody else, it's like if you have, obviously we're in meters, but I'll just say if you have a 100-yard shot, you know, that's some kind of a nobody out here is really hitting a 60 or a 58 degree, because that's kind of a max 58 or 60 degree, and it's going to come way up in the air and ton of spin. But those off-speed pitches with maybe even a gap wedge of 52 or obviously a 56, I can't. He would always ask me. He's been asking me, "What do you think this plays?" And I'm like, finally, after a while, I'm like, a caddy cannot tell you, you know, how far a chippy 52 degree is going to be playing for that. And I've been preaching to him. It's repetition on the range, you know, and it's trust and it's feel. And his wedge game was, I mean, I only had 1 or 2 walks of shame last week. That's pretty good for my team over the green, you know, and a couple of them were, you know, we're not the only ones that do it. You know, you get
those 3 one little skanky one that ended up short and then spun back. It was a par 5. He was in the trees on the right. I forget what hole it was. It was kind of in the middle of the round, maybe 12 or 13, somewhere in there.
No, we hit the fairway. We hit the fairway every single day on 12. Well, that was, I wonder if it was number 6. It might have been number 6. Shit, I can't even remember, to tell you the truth. I know so many golf holes that I've seen, but we are, man, I hate to say after a T27 we're trending, but I feel like we're trending. You're trending. Yeah, we're trending, to tell you the truth. I feel it, Puppy. I feel it too. I don't get these feelings very often. We'll see what happens this week, but who's another big name? Sung Jameis is another cut, man. He's like 35 or 36. I saw him out there today. Apparently, I was talking to Mackenzie Hughes and their caddy, and they were paired within the first 2 days, and they said he's, you know, 3rd week for Willie Wilcox on the bag. That's when all hell breaks. His first 2 weeks are like Christmas, you know, and then the 3rd week, and they said he was all over Willie, and, you know, and Sung Jae's under some kind of pressure right now, man. Like I said on previous episodes,
the House of Kimchi is not doing
the
so
House
hot,
of Kimchi has always been between 10 and 15 this time of year in a mathematical lock, and now he's got pressure where he's going to have to play good to make. Obviously, he's golden for the first 2, but he's gonna have to play some golf to make a land. Speaking of kimchi, my guy and his wife took me to Korean food for dinner on.
Is this the personal
Friday
story?
night? No, the personal story is much better than this. I'm just going to tell you how good fucking Korean food is, and you know it's a Korean menu, and they're like order what you want. And I'm like, I don't fucking. Can I Google Translate a menu? And I go, you just order for me. And these Koreans eat, right? It's just a fucking table full of marinated short ribs and pork belly. And I'm a big kimchi guy.
I love a Korean barbecue.
Yes, I'm not big on the fish cakes, those little fish cakes things that look like, but I had to be nice and eat like 3 or 4. And I'm like, more water. They had me try this water that's big in Korea. It's like, how did they explain it to me? You know how if you go to some fine dining places and they put a slice of a cucumber in water, it's so refreshing, right? Yeah. Well, over there it's called bean water. It's like green bean. It's like a little green. And they ordered it for me. And I'm like, this is not, I know, don't laugh at me. It's not bad. That's not the personal story, but I love fucking Korean food, and everything's a combination there. You know, they take a bite of short rib, and then they got the kimchi, and then they got the sprouts. And then they brought this little stuff that looked like it almost looked like a little pico de gallo kind of thing from afar, you know. So I had a little short rib, and I can't, you know, I don't work chopsticks very well. 30 years later, shit's flying everywhere, and things are falling on the ground, and there's sprouts on other people's plates. But I'm like, oh, what is this stuff? So I put a big scoop on that. And his wife like grabs my hand. She's like, don't do that. And I'm like, what? Spicy? And she's like, no, very salty. And she just put like a little dash, like a pencil head dash. And it was, I got to find out what the name of the stuff is, but it just brought out I'm rambling right now about
semen. It's bull semen. Very salty. She didn't want to embarrass you, but it was bull semen.
I probably, hopefully, I'll take your word for that. Because I feel like I'm talking to my brother Jeff right now with that comment. But,
I am wearing
let's just
purple
cut it right now.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
So
I love Korean food. So there's the rest of the 3M leaderboard. You can take them. It's a bunch of SH Kims out there. There's Dylan Wu had a good week. I mean, I don't know where to go.
It's okay. Let's get into the personal stories while we're at it.
Yeah. Go ahead. You fire first.
So remember last week how I talked about the fact that the biggest issue in my game has always been a bugaboo with my short game chipping, and I need somebody to help. Sure enough, what happens? I get a text message. I got a text. Well, I got a couple messages. I got a couple DMs on Instagram recommending people, and then I got a text message from my instructor, Mike Correa, and he's like, "What the F? Bro," he's like, "You came and have seen me several times. We have spent hours together, and not once have you ever effing let me know that your short game is shite." I'm like, fair play. I was like, "So can you fix it?" He's like, "Of course I can fix it." He's like, "Come down." So I'm actually going down there tomorrow to go try to get this worked out. But I told him, I go, "Listen, I hadn't been playing. I needed my swing to get revamped because that's the strongest part of my game. And if I'm not playing well, then granted, that's going to be one of the biggest issues. Then my wedge game was number 2. So we fixed that. And that was so that I could play out in Mountain Shadows and play in those money games and everything, so that I wouldn't lose my face out there. And then now we're on to the third part, but he was asking why I took a couple months off. So just that everybody knows, I have a tear in my MCL in my right knee. So when I go to push off or rotate, it gets aggravated, and normally I just play through it. It got really bad to the point to where a doctor told me, "You need to take time off. That's the only way that it's going to heal unless you want to go in for surgery." So I was like, all right, that's really the impotence behind the 2-month layoff and everything. And then I got really busy with everything else I was doing professionally. So Bobby, what about you? What about your personal story?
I'll get into that in about 37 seconds, but I was actually going to tell you, because I just heard our episode. I told you I had listened to our episode before we went on the air, but don't laugh at me for this. And it might be hard to do a short game, but I know James Hahn is the king of this, but I know a ton of guys out here, when something's broken and they don't really have a coach handy, you know what they do? They start Googling up shit on YouTube, like lessons, like random guys. And I don't know if you could get some short game technique. You know what it sounds like to me?
I pulled up some Mr. Short Game videos and the Short Game Chef. And then, I was
that's my buddy.
A little bit.
He's good. Parker McLaughlin is good. The Short Game Chef. Pay attention. I'm going to tell everybody, if you're struggling with your short game, pull up Parker McLaughlin stuff, the Short Game Chef.
So that was one of the recommendations.
Yes, he is fantastic. He's a really, really, really good buddy of mine. We have a lot of history. As a matter of fact, I told you I putt with this first year 2-ball putter that's all jacked up, but I just love it so much. And I've seen so many putts going, but he's actually the guy that gave me that putter on the web.com tour years ago, but he's really, really good. But a lot of it has to do, if it's standard chipping, you work for a living, Matt, right? You got a job, man. So the best chippers that I know, that when they go to practice or hit balls, they spend more time chipping. Watch guys out here. They spend more time chipping than they do anything else.
But my technique's off. My technique is off, I'm telling you.
Well, then that's what you need with your instructor, because your technique should be simple. And once you get your simple technique from what I call block chipping in the fairway, short of the green on short grass.
Bobby, hook me up with Parker as well. I could always use a second pair of eyes on that, but let's see how it goes tomorrow.
He's probably He's probably a fortune too. Those guys don't do fucking nothing for free. Pull up his videos, for the love of God. Then you're going to get to another level, because I watch these guys are so good at identifying.
Yeah, I need $3.99 is what I need.
Wait, you don't have Bermuda out there in Arizona, do you?
Right now we do.
Courses? Okay, it is Bermuda.
It's all freaking Bermuda crabgrass bullshit.
We went through it for an hour today behind a green on the chipping green, and I'm a big fan of Josh Gregory, who's the big short game guru out here. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of Butch, but here's one mistake people make out of Bermuda. They use the 58 or 60, right?
Yeah,
the best players you use your 54, 55, or 56, and you open it up. And if you get the Bermuda that sits on top, Butch used to always try and teach these guys, you hover that club, and you almost feel like you're trying to eyeball it a little bit, so it doesn't ride up the face. So, identifying like, hey, Matt, hitting the proper chip, the safe chip, and having confidence is a beautiful thing, especially when you're putting well, right? Want to hear my personal news?
And I am putting well. That's the thing.
My personal news?
Yeah.
Do you know what tomorrow is?
It's your fucking birthday. Happy birthday, Bobby. By the time this episode releases, so when everybody's hearing my voice, it is Bobby's birthday today. So happy birthday, Mr. President.
Jesus.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
I know Trumpy. Listen, look at this. Look at this little maneuver. 59 years old. I'm going to leave the hat on. But if I did this and got rid of that turkey neck,
snap.
49, Matt.
Wow.
Now look. Oh, my God. I can't look at myself in the mirror anymore.
You make enough money caddying. I mean, one more good year.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. You got to get a little talkage.
I'd pump some bigger boobs into Lowry before I spent the jack on myself.
This is the second time tonight you have gotten me. Oh,
I'll tell her we'll just do one boob, and that one will be mine, and the smaller one will be yours. And then you have to lay on my side of the bed. But good news is that her and my boys, Greensboro, it's only 4 hours away from home, and so they're coming up tomorrow with the dog, with Rover, with Charles, and we're gonna stay downtown and do a little. We got a little birthday dinner at a nice steakhouse here tomorrow night at 6:30. Of course, we're alternate for the Pro-Am, and our window's 2:15 to 4:56. And if any of these guys decide to withdraw and I miss my dinner, I'm going to be very upset.
Do you know who's playing in the Pro-Am tomorrow?
Not Michael Jordan. Somebody from North Carolina.
So we've.
Fat Perez.
Yes, sir. He is playing in the Pro-Am. And guess what? We have an interview with him, which I conducted last week. It's actually going to be out next week after our normal recording and everything. So next Thursday. So yeah, we're going to have a little interview series that coincides because you've been very kind about your time, Bobby, with making sure that our audience gets.
I make so much money off of this podcast.
That's true. That's true. I keep sending you checks. Have they arrived?
I am. with my lack of luck on penny bet, I'm the only co-host that's losing money this year.
I've been hand over fist losing money on this. So
I know. Did you send me another microphone or something? Did Lowry say you send me another?
Oh my God, I did.
Yeah.
You're welcome, by the way. That's your birthday present.
Yeah, well, can you send me a $5 Starbucks card or something?
You actually know it's hilarious. We have not exchanged Christmas gifts yet, so this is actually pretty funny.
Still got it.
So I still have your Christmas gift. It's actually sitting next to me.
Don't worry about it.
It is. You can't wear it right now because it is a Pull Hook Golf Navy hoodie that I got for you.
Send it. I'm a Navy guy.
I know.
I'm a big
Bobby.
Navy
I've been
guy.
trying to send it since December. I have not gotten to the.
Should I walk by? If I walk by Fat Perez, should I go? Matt Cook says hello, and he'll look at me.
100%. No. He knows who I am.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So I guess that's our segue right into the 3M.
Oh, well, no, we already did the 3M, Bobby. You are turning 60, aren't you? Have you been checked for dementia lately?
Brother, I am going to be 59 tomorrow. I guess that's when you do check for dementia. God, it's sad to say I am Sungjae's. Well, he is Sungjae's agent. Sungjae and SH share the same agent, Danny O, a good buddy of mine. But he was telling me in Korea, when you turn 60, that's like bigger than turning 21 or something. It's like huge. It's like, congratulations, you made it this far. So it's a Christmas miracle. I made it this far.
I mean, are you signed up for AARP yet?
What is that?
I don't know. It's just something that senior
I see it show up.
Yes, it's for seniors.
I wonder when I can start getting senior citizen discounts and stuff like at hotels and rental cars. Is that 60 or 65, or does it change? I don't know either.
That's a great question, Bobby. You're going to have to look that one up because you're only about a year away.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Do I run down the Wyndham or do we go right into the FedEx Cup? What do we do first?
So let's go into the FedEx Cup because this is the last chance. So I want to this is going to be our segue into the Wyndham Championship.
Okay.
So this is the last chance for romance, folks. We've got the FedEx Cup playoffs. So we've got the Wyndham Championship coming up this week. It is the last chance for some of these top pros to get into the top 70. So, Bobby, why don't you take us through the change that took place from last year with the FedEx numbers to this year because of Live Golf and everything going on? What happens?
So as 99 out of 100 people will probably know, our playoffs have always been a standard top 125, right? But this year with Live, to make smaller fields and bigger purses and condense it down to a more quality group, I guess you can call it a more quality group, is the top 70 will get in. And it's funny, my guy's all bummed out that he's not inside the number, but and there's other rookies that are well inside the number. And it's like, finally, I'm telling these guys, I go, you know what it is? It's bad luck, right? If you're a rookie and you're 78 on the FedEx Cup list, you are golden for the first one. And if you make the cut in the first one, you're probably going to get the top 70, which would have been a second one every other year. So it's just bad luck for these guys that live game around. So there's a lot to play for this week. I mean, it's a pretty good field, honestly. It's a little better than last week because there's some big names that are way behind the 8 ball. But the guy with the big X on his back is a guy who cost me $10 last week, I think, Austin Eckroat. And he is number 70 at 594 points. I'm going to go in reverse order. I'm going to go 70 down to because I think after looking at the math, I think
we did not talk about the penny bet results, which everybody missed the cut. So it was not worth going through anyways, but I just want to say that I won both of those.
Yeah, I know you did. So go. So I'm down $120 now.
That's 12,000.
12,000. Yeah, it comes out to $120. I'm the only co-host that's going to lose not as much money as you this year. So let me go. Here's what I think. So Austin Eckroat is 70 at 594. Cam Davis, played with him last Sunday. He looked fantastic. He's 605. Ben Griffin, 617. JJ Spawn is number 67 at 619. 66 is Vince Norman. 65 is Matt Neesmith at 637. And then Jaeger Bombs is 64 at 641. Where am I going with this? I think Jaeger and company are safe, but I think it comes to Neesmith, Norman, JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin, Cam Davis, Austin Eckroat. And listen, from 70 to 71 is only a 2-point difference. Ben Taylor is only 2 points behind getting to the playoffs. Garrett Higo, who is trending right now, is only 8 points behind. KH Lee is about 13 points behind. And I think I am 49 points. So I kind of know my shit. So if we top 10, we should get it done. I will say this. I feel like the guys that are 65 through 70 or 72, they really have the pressure, right? My guy 50, 48, 49 points behind. I mean, I don't know. I've been thinking about this the last few days, especially on the flight over here. I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, do you go for broke right off the bat and just and see if you have it going for the first 2 days, or do you just play like normal and don't take any chances and make the weekend and then you go for broke? And I think I'm gonna keep it simple and just go that we're just playing it like a normal tournament. Make the weekend, and then you can go for broke when you feel like you need to go for broke. So, like I said, outside 70 is. There's going to be somebody that comes from way back that's going to have a good week here that's going to pass some guys. So I don't feel like we have as much pressure as we would if we were, let's say, 67, 68, or 69. Because then you're worried. I think it's hard as a human being to not worry about what everybody else is doing, especially if you're not very experienced. But there's obviously some pretty big names that are we are 1 point in front of Justin Thomas. He is not trending. Adam Scott has made the FedEx Cup playoffs 16 years in a row, man. He has never missed one, and he is 80. He is 81, so he's got a ways to go.
Do you think it was a mistake that they moved this to 70 players?
Well, yes, I do. And I would not be shocked to see it go to like 90 or 100 next year when we figure out exactly what the hell's going
Sure.
on, which nobody really knows what's going on. But I'll give you my list of guys that I think are like trending and not trending. So not trending, I think, is Matt Neesmith at 65. He's not trending. Ben Griffin is not trending at 68. Cam Davis, after what I saw on Sunday, is definitely trending. Austin Eckroat played not good for 2 days, not trending. Ben Taylor, who is 2 points outside, not trending. Garrett Higo is definitely trending, I think. KH Lee has been playing pathetic, not trending. Davis Thompson not trending at 75. Shane Lowry 76. I would be shocked if Shane Lowry didn't make a move because big time players do big time things in big time situations. And I think there's no coincidence that Shane Lowry's name always pops up in very big tournaments. And I think he's going to go into this week with a mind frame that's a very, very big tournament. Justin Sue is a couple points in front of us. He got off to a great start this year. He is also a rookie. I don't feel like he's trending. I'm putting my guy in the trending list after T27 last week. Justin Thomas, I don't think is trending. I think Adam Scott,
really?
Man, that's a long.
Justin Thomas, huh?
I don't think
he
he's going to make it.
He missed the cut by 2.
He's
it
never
was 2
dealt
under.
with this. Yeah, and he fucking rinsed it on 18 a couple times. I mean, he's just making mistake after mistake, and he can't be that confident. I told you last week he had a new putter and no dad, and that wasn't the solution. And let's be honest, Justin Thomas is an absolute stud, superstar, top 10 player in the world, but he's stink bomb right now. He is stinky, and I just don't think that he's ever dealt with this kind of pressure before. And it's a pretty, it's a decent little field with JT and Shane Lowry and Sung Jae and Siwoo and Harris English, JT Poston, Hideki, Cam Davis. I'm going to put him in there. Obviously, everybody's talking about this. I know I watched this Ludwig Aberg guy, and he's had, he had a T4. He's made a ton of cuts. He had a T4 at John Deere. But with this Dan Rappaport, the Barstool guy, stop fucking talking about Ludwig Aberg is a serious contender for the European Ryder Cup team.
No
My
chance.
God. I just don't get where these guys are coming from. Somebody made up a list of their 12 guys on the European team. And I was scrolling down that list last night, and I'm like, don't laugh at me for this, but if they are huge odds in Rome at home, that European team is a lot better than we think it is now that, like, Dustin, I don't think Dustin's going to be on that team. I definitely do. Deschamps. Yeah. Well, Dustin could be on that team. I don't, he's got to earn it by points. I don't think they can give those guys picks. Brooks is probably going to be on the team, but DeChambeau is not going to be on the team. Patrick Reed won't be on the team. Those two guys are cancer in the locker room. But I'm thinking, like, if they're huge odds, I'm like, God, I should bet $10 on the Europeans because it's such a home field advantage thing in those things.
And you're wearing a USA shirt too.
Yeah, this is Olympic USA because I set my alarm for 3 a.m. to watch our women's soccer team.
I hope you watched that from last week.
Did I wear this shirt last week? I wore. Shut up. Oh, you're a funny guy tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, I wore a white T-shirt last week. Matt gets dressed up.
There you go. I wear the same thing sometimes, Yeah, bull semen. We got that going for us.
I wear the same.
Poor SH. His poor wife was just like, yeah, you need to stop taking all that.
I know. She can grab my hand so fast.
She's like, very salty.
Okay, yeah. Well, she was probably an expert. Anyways, our defending champ is not here, Tom Kim. Obviously, he had the grade 1 ankle tear or whatever that whole rigmarole was. So, yeah, there's some horses for courses out here. Obviously, Poston's one here, but there's, Brant Snedeker is healthy again and showing life, and he's shot 0 out here before. He shot low numbers. Webb Simpson's won out here before. So there's a couple horses for courses, but, winning is winning. But, the big thing is, can I tell you something? I've been at this tournament before with guys that are safe inside the number and they just like the course and they play, right? But there used to be, it seemed like there was a lot more when it was the top 125 guys, as opposed to the top 70. I felt like there was more excitement, like who's going to, because at that point, 125 was losing your card or not, right? Because the fall season started a new season in September. And now it's actually just a continuation of 71 through 200, and whoever has full status are going to be playing it off. So it's a big week, man. for my team, I just want to put the first one in the fairway. We spent a lot of time on it, but we stacked up the whole fucking golf course today. We were so slow, hitting putts to every corner and showing him what I knew about the golf course. And I'm going to tell you folks, I don't know if you'll ever get a chance to come to Greensboro, North Carolina, but if you do, and you get an opportunity to play this 100-year-old golf course, Sedgefield Country Club, which is very short and very tight and killer Bermuda and very extremely fast greens. It is an absolute gem. It's not super long, but there's tons of blind tee shots out here. You probably hit 5 drivers at the most. People will say it's a second shot golf course. I feel like it's a first shot golf course, to tell you the truth, but it's got some big fescue and it's just old school and it's never been changed in however many years that we've been here. So I'm pretty pumped. I'm trying to think what hole that is behind you, but I'm guessing it's 16, the par 3 over the water, isn't it?
No idea.
You don't know. Yeah. But it looks great.
Looks great. It's a phenomenal shot.
It looks great. So that's kind of my rundown. You know, it's funny. I've been here so many times, but this place is in such pure shape. I actually caught myself like looking at some holes and looking at things that I've never seen before where I'm like, man, this is a badass course. You know, it's just a little badass course. So we'll see how it goes, man. We're going to have a good episode next week and I'll tell you how my week went, but I got
really will.
You know, I've said this almost every week this year. I got a sneaky feeling about this week. And if we get off to a decent start after what I saw out of my guy for a few hours last week and on Friday, he's, you know, I've been propping him and I think he's the next one and we'll see how he handles this. Obviously you told me he looks tired on TV. Yes, he's very tired on TV, but
you're keeping him alive. That's where I want to go with that because he's having a blast out there with you. You guys are laughing. Yeah, I saw some of that. Well, I mean, there's definitely that dynamic between the two of you that is enjoyable to watch. Like, you know what was really sad? And I'm going to take a shot at the broadcast real quick that does the featured groups. They started to actually like talk about you being the key because there's this dynamic between the two of you. They had nothing to share. They're just like, oh yeah, his caddy is a longtime caddy. His name's Bobby Brown and he's on the bag. You know, he used to be with Dustin Johnson and that's it. I'm like, guys, are you kidding me right now? Yeah, like he was on Sungjae's bag. He eats kimchi all the time. Like, come on. He goes to Trader Joe's and gets the best Korean dumplings that you can imagine and put like he's got everything going. And on top of that, I was waiting for him because you could tell that he just got stuck. Like whoever it was that was doing the broadcast, I don't even know who it was. Literally, all of a sudden, I'm like, I could have just done a better job of. Granted, you're my co-host, and I know you really well at this point. But it's like, guys, bring up the fact that he's got a podcast. Bring up the fact that, like, even if you're not going to give a shout out for him doing media and having a podcast and everything, at least talk about all the other Koreans that he has actually caddied for.
Yeah, I've had
do a little bit of homework.
Yeah, they don't care. They're not really out there to see us, to tell you the truth, unless we're leading a golf tournament. But thanks for getting my back, I guess, bro.
It was frustrating because I'm like, there's so much that you have done and you're such a legend in the game. And like when you talk to other pros like James Hahn or Matt Every, like they'll be the first ones to tell you Bobby's a big deal. And we were actually intimidated having him on the bag. It's like, guys, get it together. You're in broadcast. Like, do a little bit of homework when all of a sudden, and then they're saying, by the way, this is the first time I'm seeing SH Kim. And I'm going, are you kidding me right now? Like, it was just pathetic. And then there was a lot of dead air. Throughout that coverage where it's like you could have filled all of those spots. There was plenty of research you could have done. So as somebody that does research, it actually killed me to hear that and everything going on. So anyways, that was a downside to broadcast. One more thing. I actually have to give the Barstool guys
they were a little terrible. Bit of credit.
No, here's the thing. This is a perfect scenario for the Corn Ferry Tour and for Barstool Sports because Barstool needs little clips. That's how they rise in terms of their viewership, especially through social media and through that promotion side. And that's the majority of their audience. They're wanting short clips, and they had these little one-liners with the little clips and everything. Now, did I watch the actual broadcast, no. I saw all the little clips with the one-liners that got cut up, and I'm sitting there going, this is brilliant for Barstool, because this is what they didn't have before, and it's better than the podcast, to be quite honest. And with that, they actually did a good job, in my opinion. Now, granted, you'll roll your eyes, you'll say that, oh, whatever, like they were crap, but they added a little bit of comedy to the Corn Ferry Tour, and they actually brought a little bit of viewers in. I agree, they're not that funny, but some of the stuff was decent to where I'm like,
they are.
Oh, they for sure do.
No disrespect to our New Jersey fans out there, but they're a bunch of Guidos. You know, most of those guys are just a bunch of fucking Guidos. They're Jersey Guidos is what a bunch of them is. And I'm not knocking Jersey. I love New Jersey, you know, but there's some Guidos out there, and these guys are Guidos. And plus, you think I hate Hannah Gregg a lot and Frederick Lindbaum? This Dan Rappaport guy's right up there. He's like the big three. This guy, you know, he thinks he's a stud golfer, can't barely crack 80. None of these guys can crack 80. I just feel like,
God, did you see he played in a Monday qualifier and shot like 76?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden is like talking, oh my God, these guys are the best guys out here. Like they're so effing good, blah, blah, blah.
Of course he had to do that. Well, he goes, you know, he's just a douchebag. The shit he tweets about, he just thinks, you know, it's just, maybe that's the way media is now. You know, it's so not into the understanding of hits and social media and gaining popularity. The guys are probably worth a boatload of money with this whole Barstool thing.
Barstool, you know, Barstool is blown up because it's got that demographic that wanted like average guys to talk about sports. And that's what it is. Foreplay Pod, none of those guys are great golfers. Dan Rappaport, apparently he's a scratch golfer, but he's
not a scratch.
I don't buy it, right? It's one of those where it's like, okay, handicap vanity. And it's like, I'm a plus 0.5 and I don't feel like I'm a scratch golfer. Like I'll be the first one to admit it. I feel like I either shoot freaking under par or I shoot 80. It's one or the other. Yeah, long story short, from a media perspective with the broadcast and everything, kudos to you, Barstool, for hooking up with the Corn Ferry Tour. I felt like they took advantage of a great situation. Yeah. And it fits both purposes. It brings a new audience to the Corn Ferry Tour, and for Barstool, they get all those little social media clips. So there you go.
There you go. You liked it. I hated it. Next topic. Penny bet. Wyndham penny bet?
Oh, hang on a second. We got to get into, before we get to the penny bet, because we did go through quite a bit of the Wyndham Championship, we have a little mid-roll commercial from Swannies. Oh, so just to make sure that we don't have to put on any other advertisements on here, whether it be through YouTube or on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, we're sticking to Swannies. So ever thought of adding a hoodie to the back of your favorite quarter zip? Why not? Throw in some sweat-wicking fabric made from recycled plastics to your closet. And what about a floral print inside the collar of that plain work polo that your boss likes, just to get the people going just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Don't worry. Swannies definitely thought of all of that for you. So game-changing styles that perform, workwear that fits as well as a happy hour, bold prints that keep the beer cart coming back for another look. You know she's looking at you, folks, when you're wearing Swannies. They got it all. Swannies is your best bet for a look good, feel good, play good solution. Word to the wise. If you don't like compliments, they won't be your thing. So Swannies, Pull Hook Golf 25 is the promo code at checkout. Get 25% off your order. Folks, go and get some Swannies. I had some good feedback from the audience. A lot of messages on Instagram, on YouTube. Guys are filling up their carts. They're getting the 25% off. They're gaining value from what we're doing here, Bobby, by getting them a promo code of 25% off at Swannies. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. I got some stuff coming as well, so I'm pretty excited to start to roll that out as that arrives and
very good.
Get that going.
You'll like it. You'll like it, man.
I'm gonna absolutely love it. I mean, from what you told me, it's gonna be amazing. So now
it's good shit.
Let's get into the Wyndham Championship penny bets.
Yeah.
I know everybody's been waiting for these, but Bobby, here's the thing. I won both of our bets, even though nobody made the cut. So it was quite embarrassing.
Who did you? So I had Austin Eckroat and you had who?
So I had, do
you remember?
You had
Sung Jae and Austin Eckroat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had Justin Thomas. And then I don't remember who else I had.
Are you sure you won?
Yeah,
We're professionals.
I'm sure I won. Hang on a second. I have the notes here. Let's take a quick look to see who I ended up having on last week's episode for the penny bet. But remember, I was starting to have some amnesia, some dementia that was going on around who I actually picked, because I was asking you. Joel Damon is who I had. So
what did he finish at?
Man, Bobby, you're asking
was 2 or 3 over.
Yeah, and guess what? Joel Damon was either at even. No, he was at 2 under with Justin Thomas. Him and Justin Thomas both shot 2 under.
Okay, you won both. Both. It's official.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was paying attention. I get to pick. So here's the thing. I know you said he's not trending, but since he won for me last week, I am coming back again, and I am going to go with Justin Thomas.
Of course you are. Play the chalk. Why wouldn't you?
No, here's the thing. Okay. Justin Thomas is a gamer. If you've met this kid, Bobby, which I know you've seen him out there.
What do you mean? I've met him 100 times.
He's going to figure it out.
Keep saying that every week. He's going to figure it out. The winner comes from the list that I read earlier. Shane Lowry, Sungjae Si. Well, I'm going to leave Sungjae out. I don't think he's going to win.
That's Siwoo,
Adam Scott. Hair. Okay, I'm taking JT Poston. I'll make it simple.
Wow, JT Poston. You're picking the hot hand. I like it.
I'm picking the hot hand who's a defending champ and very comfortable from here. And if I'm not mistaken, he grew up in North Carolina, so he's very familiar with everything that has to do with winning. And I'm taking the hot hand, and I'm taking Infuego, and you're taking Mucho Frio.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to get many pennies delivered at my doorstep. So I'm quite happy with the 10,000. I feel like I'm gonna give you some opportunities here in the coming weeks, especially since you've decided that, hey, skip vacation. Let's keep rolling with the podcast. I've been very impressed with you, by the way. I mean, when I offered, hey, Bobby, you want to take some vacation time? Bobby said no. He goes, the audience deserves to have our analysis every single week. And I said, Bobby, I've been working you so hard for a year now. You deserve a break. And he goes, no, absolutely not. No. We do have an interview dropping on Thursday with Neil Hubman, who's the president of the new LA Golf Club for the TGL League, which is the Tiger and Rory League. He sheds a lot of light on what his role is, what the league is all about. We even kind of drop in a couple things about the setup and everything that I think has not been released yet.
I'm going to listen.
So I'm excited. We have the Live Golf Greenbrier event, which I know it's your favorite. It's your favorite thing to talk about. You love Live Golf. You love.
Well, I don't love it. And when's the last time they had a tournament? Like a month ago or something like that?
It was a month ago.
Is it true? Yeah, and aren't they coming up to where after this tournament they go like 5 weeks before another tournament? There's another 5-week gap. I don't get it, but Greenbrier is a cool little course. It's obviously a very historical place with the bunker and that kind of stuff. And I'll be checking it out. It'll be fun.
I mean, I always enjoyed that golf course. I actually, one of my college roommates, he grew up in West Virginia, and we used to actually go to the Greenbrier, and the great resort. It is old fashioned for sure, but that golf course is fantastic. And
it's got square green. It's really cool. It's really old. It's got square greens, but as you know, it's in the middle of nowhere. They're not going to get any people. They're not going to get anybody. So it was an interesting decision. I'm sure that's Norman hooking up with who's the guy that owns a Greenbrier that's governor there? Justice. His last name's Justice. Gosh, he's kind of
that's a
no paying. Well, I've heard around the grapevine there when I've been there, he doesn't like to pay his bills on time, and he doesn't pay his employees very well. And obviously, he had a beef with the PGA Tour when they took the contract away. So it was a no brainer for him to team up with Norman and all his antics, and it should be interesting. I got some inside information. I'm interested to hear what your picks are. I mean, I know what one of your picks is going to be. The second one, I think I'm going to bombard you on. But
no, I mean, we can get right into it. Golf picks.
Yeah, do it.
But louder.
We're back.
Segment. Here we go. I get the individual pick and the first team pick, so I'm just going to do both at the same time. Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with.
Let me write down SH Kim.
SH Kim, C1 Kim.
Oh no, I mean, man, I could have a bad week. All right, C1
I don't
Kim.
know if you've seen a black cat cross the road recently, but you might want to turn it around and park it in the parking garage.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Who's
so
your
I'm going to
team?
go with C1 Kim and the Ironheads.
Who's the Ironheads?
That is Kevin Na, C1 Kim.
You fucked up right there. You fucked up. You know why you fucked up?
Because
research getting guy. Do you know why? Because
Kevin Na plays well there.
He's won there, and I think Danny Lee's won there too. Danny Lee's almost won there twice. Wow. So you fucked up.
Well,
right there.
Danny Lee doesn't play on their team, so I got that.
Danny Lee is on Kevin Na's team.
Is he?
Oh
no! Am I? Yeah. Wow!
And you know how much I hate Danny Lee and don't
it's
want him to play.
It's been too long since the last Live Golf event. I forgot who's on whose teams.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Actually, that's not good.
Yeah. So you made your pick. You can't change.
I did.
You know who's going to finish last this week? Who's going to hit it all over the map in West Virginia?
Who?
Phil Mickelson's team.
Wow!
You cannot be stupid aggressive out there. I'm taking Lefty's team to finish last.
Wow.
I don't look for Dustin Johnson to top 20 out there either. I'm going to say that one.
Wow. So
I think he played there one time and he was on the bottle.
Whose team are you going to say is the last place team?
Phil Mickelson's team.
Oh, which one
What's
is that?
Their name? That's what I say to you.
What's the High name? Flyers.
Yeah, those dudes are high.
Yeah, they're high as kites.
Yeah. Yeah, they're high flyers.
Wow.
I'm taking the high flyers for last.
Wow.
So best of luck to you.
We need some John Denver. Country, take me home. Country
I thought you were on Rocky Mountain High. What else you got on this episode?
I don't know. I think I'm going to keep singing John Denver as we
don't do it.
Go ahead and just take me home. Country roads.
All right.
Yeah. So, Bobby, I mean, we have come to the conclusion of the event of tonight, which is the podcast. So that being said, we went over a lot tonight. I mean, the only thing that we did not talk about is Tiger Woods being added to the policy board, which this one wasn't on our list because it popped up this morning and definitely was something that the media was running with big time. We posted it on our Instagram page. There's not much to talk about, though, about it. I mean,
just there was a little cover letter, and obviously he's there to save the day. And obviously there was a letter written to Jay Monahan that there needs to be more transparency. You know, all the big players signed it. There was 41 of them, I think, that signed it. And what's interesting with Tiger coming on board, they've also hired, I can't remember his name, but they've also hired some bigwig consultant guy too, who's going to act as a middleman for the players. So there's serious transparency where anything that's being talked about with Liv is not going to be kept from the players. Now, if that makes any sense. God, I can't remember his name to save my life, but we'll probably have more information on that for next week's episode. I would imagine there's probably going to be some more in-depth talk and what Tiger's role is going to be. But obviously you bring Tiger in and that's pretty important for the PGA Tour because he is the PGA Tour and he's the reason why I'm sitting here. And a lot of people on the tour that are teeing it up this week are playing. It's because Tiger came into their lives and came into golf.
And it's the reason why the Saudis put so much money into Live Golf and everything. I mean, he is the needle mover. He's the barometer test. And certainly he has brought all of this to the forefront. And now he is like Superman.
Six man. First man, but six man.
What's cool about it, though, that for everybody listening is that now there is an equal number of players on the board as there are independent directors. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you have an even voting, which voting always had to be 2/3 anyways. But now it really is going to, because who's going to vote against Tiger, right? So I definitely think that this is kind of the movement of saving face in a lot of ways for Jay and the PGA Tour. Yeah. And it's going to be a positive thing, I feel like. I feel like Tiger, he's moving into the next phase of his life and career.
Well, I can tell you after being out here all the time and having big open ears is that everybody seemed to calm down with Jay a little bit. It seems like the last 2 or 3 weeks. I know that Kevin Streelman did an interview that I happened to read a few nights ago where he had a one-on-one with Jay, and he's like, hey, we're all about Jay. And we asked him, why did you do this? And he said, oh, we fucked up. We made a mistake. You know, we didn't know what to do. Our backs were against the wall. We were afraid it was going to get leaked or whatever. And we had to move when we had to move. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have done it differently. So Jay's a human being, right? And it's not just Jay. You know, there's plenty of people in his ear. So let's give him a chance. And with Tiger coming on board, let's see what happens. But next week we get to talk about, hopefully next week, this podcast is from my regular Courtyard Marriott in Memphis, Tennessee. That's what I got,
Bobby. Let's get in. Maybe you'll have a new wireless microphone as well.
Not in Memphis.
Is the wife bringing it up? Bring it up to Charlotte, to Greensboro.
She'll get mad at me.
It's tiny. It's small.
I'm trying to get her to bring some gummies for me. I'm running low.
There you go. Yeah, you go.
I'm not traveling with that with the kids. And I'm like, oh my God.
Come on, Bobby.
All right, man. All right,
Bobby. We'll sign it off. But happy birthday, buddy. I will chat with you soon, and I'll see you next week.
See everybody next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com for more information.